Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Welcome to an incredibly special Fairfield Today that we're putting on for you today. It's our pleasure to be in the Decorative Arts Center up on just up the hill 100 yards from where we normally broadcast from Fairfield Federal, but we've got a very special show that we're going to present today. And I don't think it's an overstatement to say that for a show that was only on the air 3 years in the mid to late 60s, we fast forward 6 years later, and possibly it's more impressive now to know about Star Trek than it was back then, because there weren't very many Trekkies in 66 and 67 where everyone, including our cameraman today, Shane, I might add that today, is a huge Star Trek fan. And so to talk about that today in this wonderful exhibition that they have going on, Star Trek and Worlds Beyond, here at the Decorative Arts Center. To my right is Jason Crabill. Jason is the executive director. Jason, welcome. Glad to have you here with us. And it's been a while since Randall Thropp has been on, maybe since the Edith Head show. We came up here, and all of this that we'll be discussing today was a bit different back then.
Oh, very different, very different. Very, very different at the time. So,
as you think about Edith Head, did you think, I'll be back here someday doing other things? Because that had to set the world on fire for you.
well, this is exhibit number 7 that I've done at the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio, and I'm very happy. 2 of the exhibits were much smaller. They were more contained downstairs. But yeah, this is, the Paramount Archive team kind of refers to this as my laboratory. So we test things out here. So the Edith Head exhibit has traveled, and it really was based on a lot of the social media that came out of the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio. So I'm really happy to be back. And then this is something entirely different. And I will tell you this, that 3/4 of the items you see on display here, never been seen before. I've never had them out. Usually I get requests for simply the Enterprise costumes and maybe one of the villains. But as far as a lot of the background, a lot of the aliens, this is the first time they've been out. And they're loving it. They're having a great time here.
Jason, when we think about the Decorative Arts Center and your mission here with arts and putting this, this I think is the perfect exhibit for that, that combines all this and your mission at DACO.
Yep. Well, you know, we've done enough of these interviews to know that throughout the years, our exhibits are always very different, right? We try to anchor ourselves in the decorative arts, but we have exhibits of all kinds, all different kinds of media and art and history. But, you know, costume exhibits, the exhibits that Randall brings to us are truly decorative arts exhibits. You know, costumes, clothing are a prime example of decorative arts we use every day. And when you think about movie props, you know, we call them props when they're in a movie, but in the world of the movie, the props are the things people use. They're the decorative arts in that space. So, you know, as Randall said, we've done several exhibits here, what I call classic Hollywood. We've had contemporary pieces as well, but that idea of kind of looking back, right? And so when we were discussing another exhibit, the idea of, you know, how has Hollywood envisioned the decorative arts of the future was sort of the kernel we started with, and it's ended up with the show that we have open this summer, Star Trek and Worlds Beyond.
I'm going to talk to Randall in a moment just about kind of how he envisioned all this coming about and how it came about here, but I know just a couple of weeks ago, you had a grand opening here. Maybe we would call it that, but certainly a big show here, a great turnout from the community to kind of kick things off. Randall, the curator, was here to talk. Other folks were here talking. A huge success.
Truly a huge success. I mean, we always know when Randall's in town, it's going to be a big show. But also, you know, Star Trek, in much the way that Edith Head captured a certain audience, right? People who love classic Hollywood. But in that case, we still have to kind of explain to certain generations who Edith was. That's not true for Star Trek. Even people who never watch Star Trek know Star Trek. Now, sometimes we have to say, Star Trek, not that other Star Yeah. But it's something that everybody knows, and whether you are a fan and can geek out on the specifics, oh, that was in that movie, I remember seeing that, or someone who is fascinated by the way the costumes are built, or the props, right? We talk, and Randall will probably mention this, but Star Trek in the '60s, the communicator device that they had was the vision that became flip phones in the '90s. It really has had an influence on culture, and so there's an entry point really for everyone in this exhibit.
Randall, I don't know if you were a Trekkie, maybe back in the day, or you even are now. I'm not sure. But we were fortunate enough before we got the cameras rolling today to go around here and discuss this stuff. And this is just an amazing 3 or 4 rooms. We're going to be in them all to look at it and see what's going on. But my goodness, I don't know how you ever put all this together.
I have to tell you something, Paul. Now, this was my 5th grade dilemma. Was my friends were watching this new show called Star Trek, and I tried watching an episode, and I'm like, meh. And I know, but I watched Batman. I was an avid Batman fan.
Adam West.
And, yes, but the other reason was the guest stars. I mean, I was obsessed with all these old movie stars that would show up on there. I mean, even in the 5th grade, I knew who Tallulah Bankhead was. So anyway, but the way I'm approached this, when we decided to pull this stuff together, was the design point of view. Is looking at each costume and saying, okay, now we know what the Enterprise uniforms look like. They're pretty standard, but it's looking at the aliens. I really wanted to feature the background actors and the aliens because of the design and the thought process that went into them. And I'm more fascinated. I mean, yes, I've seen all the Star Treks now, so I'm up to date, okay? But I really was fascinated with the design concepts and even on the props. I mean, all the sketches and the drawings that went into, and then they would go to a prop house and they would make a phaser, they would make a tricorder, they would make a communicator. And each Star Trek, each one of the subsequent ones we did, they slightly redefined what those looks are. But very subtle, very subtle. But that's how I approached this, as to what would make for a great display that spoke to design. So there's where I'm coming from.
One of the things that struck me in our tour with Jason and you and walking around here and looking at things we'll see today are, now many of the costumes are worn throughout the movie. You'll see them again and again. You see some of them over and over in a separate movie. But so many of these costumes were just almost not an afterthought, but it might be an alien just walking across the stage in one of these costumes, and it's incredibly done, and people might see it for 10 seconds.
Absolutely, not even 10 seconds. Some of these are literally on camera for maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and that's it. They're just doing a crossover, but they are all about the fiber of, especially in Star Trek Beyond. It's the set, it was called Yorktown, which is essentially the New York of the universe. And I believe Yorktown was a space station, wasn't that? Yes, it was a space station, but it was enormous. But it also showcased the diversity of the Star Trek universe and all the different cultures that came together in Yorktown. And that's what you'll see in the galleries. Some of them have a Japanese influence, an Indian influence, a Middle Eastern influence. That's what I find remarkable about the thought process that went into all of these alien costumes. And none of those have been on display before. This is the first time.
Can you put into words really, we were walking around with Shane and we know he's a Trekkie and he loves this, but can you put into words about, and I'm sure you see that with people that walk around here, they're just in awe. I mean, it's mouth-dropping kind of things that they see, and like Jason said about Edith Head, lots of people knew about Edith Head, and if you were an Edith Head person, this was your Star Trek moment. But for this, I mean, people are 60 years later still crazy over this stuff. I mean, they love it. I mean, is that remarkable to you?
Not really, because of all the incarnations there have been of Star Trek. I mean, it didn't just stop with the original TV series. It was feature film, feature film, feature film. Then they did the spin-off television series, now animated series. I mean, it has been in the world for, since 1966. Star Trek has been part of, the culture, the popular culture. But I think, too, some of the people who came here who, especially on the opening weekend, that were not familiar with Star Trek, they were looking at, like you were saying, the designs, the concepts that went into these. But then you have people like Shane, who was like, I know that. And we did have those people there too.
It was like our own personal guide.
Exactly. And so there are those fans that have seen every incarnation of Star Trek, and I'm hoping that they will come. And yeah, I mean, I'm very, very happy with this exhibition and the way it looks. We had a superior design team that was assembled to put this together, and it was headed by Bill Mann, it was Maria Burke, Amy Overmeyer, Brandon Miller, and Missy Dorston. They just did a fantastic job. And I've never been so impressed walking into this, and it's like, wow, you have these, they're dressed, they're ready to go. But I can't say enough, and another big thank you to everybody who was involved in making this happen.
Well, I'm the fortunate one here today. I got a cameraman who knows maybe more than my guests here know about Star Trek today, but I've got Jason Crabill, Randall Thropp here to talk about Star Trek. We're going to be taking a tour of what is this exhibit here at the Decorative Arts Center, Star Trek and Worlds Beyond, and I hope we can do it justice because it is truly amazing to be up here and all this. So we're going to go visit some other rooms. We're going to join you in a moment. We're going to talk some more. Got some questions about how all this really came about. How did it all get here at the Decorative Arts Center in Lancaster, Ohio? Come on, how does that happen? We're going to talk about that. We'll be back in just a moment on Fairfield Today.
If you've been thinking about getting a home loan, now is the time. Hi, this is Carrie James from Fairfield Federal. Our experienced lenders are here to help you make your vision a reality. For more than 125 years, we've been helping our community achieve home ownership. Fairfield Federal has convenient online application for your home loan, home equity loan, and home equity line of credit needs. Visit fairfieldfederal.com to get started. Fairfield Federal for checking, savings, and home loans. Data charges may apply, subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 402612.
Fairfield Medical Center is more than a hospital. We're a health system that's been putting people first for more than a century. From the youngest patients to the eldest, our compassionate team of caregivers are here to support you through every season of life. We are healers, cheerleaders, patient advocates, and champions. Your health is our greatest accomplishment, and we are proud to serve you. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center.
Did you know Fairfield DD provides coordination for over 1,200 people in Fairfield County? That's 1,200 unique journeys, each filled with talents, dreams, and challenges. And while no two paths are the same, one thing is true for everyone. Life is easier when you have the right support. That's why we're here. From early childhood milestones to school transitions, employment, and adulthood, Fairfield DD connects individuals and families with the resources they need every step of the way. When the right support is available, a vibrant community where people lead lives of greater independence and make meaningful contributions becomes possible. Learn more at fairfielddd.com and check us out on social media. Together, we're building a more inclusive Fairfield County.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. Paul Jasson with you with Randall and Jason, and we're having the treat of a lifetime here for some of us to be in the Star Trek world that we're in. We're in another one of the rooms. Welcome to Starfleet, and we're in here, Randall, and I was going to ask you before we took a break about how did all this kind of come about to be involved in Lancaster, Ohio, of all places it could have been?
Well, I mean, I grew up in Lancaster. I left quite a long time ago, but my mother lived here, and my mom was a teacher for many, many years at North School, and one of her philosophies was, you know, if you do something, if you can give back to the community, give back to the community, whatever you can. And so it kind of stuck with me. It's like, well, I have the opportunity to do that, and then, you know, meeting the people here at Decorative Arts years ago with Barbara Hunziker when she was here, and you know, Barbara was the one that encouraged me to bring the Edith Head exhibit here. And we got the permission to do it and did it, and that started the ball rolling, and now this is number 7 for me, even though two of the exhibits were much smaller that were just downstairs. But as far as major exhibits, we did, I've done 5 here, and this will be, this is number 5, yes, of the major exhibits.
Well, let's give a shout out to Mrs. Thropp then, who was really the inspiration for little Randall to be where we are today.
That's true. That is true. Shout out to her. But so this is the gallery that's called Welcome to Starfleet. So it's sort of an introduction to the Enterprise and then some crew members that were on the Enterprise. Behind us are 2 original costumes that were from the 1966 series. And that's all that we have at the Paramount Archives are just 2 original costume pieces. And these were both science officers, one male, one female. And so we're kind of honored to have them here. But then we have newer costumes from 2009, Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond. But then we have Deep Space Nine, we have Wrath of Khan, we have Voyager. So we have plenty. And then we also have a set of insignias, and these were used in multiple TV projects and in films.
Sort of similar to the ones you have on your
yes, this was, I believe, a cadet leader pin. Because in 2009 is when you start with the cadets, when Kirk and Spock and McCoy are all cadets at the Academy. That gives you a little insight onto that.
Well, having Randall here as the curator, Jason, I mean, boy, what a tremendous addition. And I know you had other folks here for your kickoff opening here that just kind of indicated, I think, to everyone here that this has potential to really set up the summer.
Yeah. It was a great kickoff weekend. We had over 300 people come through our doors over the course of the weekend. Our opening event and our curator talk. As part of the curator talk, we also had Randall speaking with Russ Hasledge, who is the founder and president of the International Federation of Trekkers, which is the fan club that Gene Roddenberry helped to found. It's actually based out of Sandusky, Ohio. Yeah. So there's quite a few Ohio connections to Star Trek we've discovered through the process. We really wanted to connect both the official Paramount relationship with Star Trek, all of the official pieces, as well as the fan side. We also have pieces in the space from the Trumbull County Historical Society, which owns a collection of props from a prop shop founded by a Warren, Ohio native who ran a shop for 40 years called Modern Props out there. He owned all of his props. Many of them were used in various Star Trek properties, some in multiple properties over the years. And so they now have that collection. They have a museum, a science fiction museum. They are planning on opening probably 4 or 5 years from now. They're in the process of raising funds for it. In the meantime, they have all of these things in a warehouse, and we wanted to help bring those out both to add to our exhibit and also kind of share their story. So that's a piece of what we're doing as well.
We've got 3 or 4 different rooms. We want to visit them all. We're going to get there. But one thing I wanted to mention while we were talking earlier, I don't know how the sound comes over today, but how great is it to walk in every room and you actually have sounds that actually are another character, another persona in this Star Trek thing?
These are all background sounds from different Star Treks. And this was put together by Brandon Miller, who did the incredible job with the lighting and that I can't say enough good things about him. And I had always wanted an exhibition with sound, that it was immersive, that when you walked in, you were in a different world. And Brandon said, yeah, I can do that. It's like, oh my gosh. So I am beyond thrilled the way this got set up. And again, each gallery has a slightly different sound in it. And even when you're in the central hall, it kind of all bleeds together. So you get the sense that you're not in Lancaster right now. You're somewhere else. So yeah, we're very pleased. I can't say enough good things about the designers who helped put this together.
We're at the Decorative Arts Center, Star Trek and Worlds Beyond. I mean, it's amazing. It'll be here through the end of August. We've got other rooms to see. We're going to get there. We've got Randall and Jason as our tour guides. We'll be right back.
The reason why I do what I do is I love helping people, and I really love to work on understanding and striving to improve the lives of the people in our community. Being in Fairfield County is having a network of people around you.
I am driven by my belief that every individual deserves an opportunity to achieve mental and emotional balance, and I'm very passionate about contributing to that process.
Community, connections, collaboration. The Fairfield County Way.
We are back with Star Trek and Worlds Beyond. We're at the Decorative Arts Center, and with Randall and Jason as our guides today. We're in the second room of the 4 that we're going to visit today, and this is called Beyond Human. And gosh, I guess maybe in the world of Star Trek, we think these are somebody you're not going to run into every day here in Lancaster at North School.
No, you're not going to run into these people. Some of these guys are good, and some of these guys are not so good. But they're all aliens behind us here. They're all different species of aliens.
So we see the poster behind us, and we'll have Shane get some shots of that. But these are kind of first drafts of maybe what some of the aliens will eventually look like?
What these are actually the finished product. They are carved. They're carved, and then molds are made with silicone to do the prosthetics, to do the masks over the heads. So yes, all of these were featured in. This is mostly from Star Trek Beyond.
And I think you told us that we couldn't even have some of the things here because they're so heavy. There's nothing you could hold them up.
They were too large because some of these aliens were like 7 feet tall with enormous heads and giant hands, and it would take a specialty mannequin in order to support that. Also, there was so much fabric and accessories that we even tried dressing them at the archives, and they would tip over because they were so heavy. So we said, can't send those. So that was part of the selection process.
We're in the Beyond Human room, and Jason, I mean, can you imagine when you thought about this, did you think you'd ever have enough material to fill up all this space?
Well, I knew that Randall had a lot. Part of the problem was he's got so much, it's figuring out what to bring.
Thinning of the herd.
Yeah, thinning of the herd to tell, have a narrative, tell a cohesive story. So, the room we were in before was Starfleet. This is sort of the aliens, good and bad, right? The idea of non-human. And then, as you'll see in the other spaces, we go into the worlds that are not Earth. And then looking at sort of all of the technology and parts, cultural things that Star Trek has sort of inspired. So it's sort of a narrative there. But yeah, this room full of all of these aliens. And as Randall was saying earlier, a lot of these are seen for seconds on screen. Some of them are major characters, but the detail of the work that's done, the piece behind you has 4 or 5 layers to it of detailed work, and I believe that character was on screen for moments. So it's just incredible for people to be able to come, spend time taking a close look at these things and really sort of thinking about what all of this represents, about the possibilities that are out there. Star Trek, one of the things about Star Trek is that it was one of the first science fiction properties to really look at the future in a positive light, the possibilities of the future as opposed to sort of the darkness of dystopian, war and famine and all of those things. And so that has continued on from the very beginning of Star Trek. And so that's also something that I think this exhibit helps to explore a little bit.
Well, we've got a lot to see here, and we're going to see where we'll be able to beam us up, Scotty. We've got some of that going on here, too, from the original TV show. We're going to visit more of this, and we'll be right back.
What makes Fairhope what it is our staff. It's always a question that we ask, why do you want to be here with us? And what they most always say is, you've touched my life this way. You took care of this person, or I've seen what you've done, and I want to do that. And so the staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairhope what it is.
Back at the Decorative Arts Center, and we are beyond Earth. Unbelievable where we've gone. We just walked through a hallway, and we're in a whole other world. This is beyond Earth. Randall, these are pretty much alien to me.
Yeah, there are a lot of alien costumes in here, and what I really want people to look at is the creativity that goes into these things. You just don't go to the alien store and buy these. These are outsourced. The different designers have worked on these, and I just find that so fascinating and rich. And that adds to the idea of the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio, that we're showcasing decorative arts in fabric, in fashion. So yes, we have there was a lot of diversity in the aliens in Star Trek Beyond. So you have we have the Vulcan ambassadors up here, and that is definitely a Japanese influence. Then you have a Middle Eastern influence, an African influence, an Indonesian influence. So it was all these different cultures coming together, and again, each culture borrowed from somebody else. The only other costume we have in here that is a true alien that did not borrow from anybody else is he's called the Hider, and he was a bad guy in Star Trek Beyond. And I really insisted on his costume being in here because it's made up of elements that don't relate to anything human. It's from another planet. And then you're like, well, what planet did this come from? And is that metal? Is it an animal hide? That's what, again, it's back to that thought process that the designer did. It's like, well, you have to think that all through as to where did he come from? Because these people, like I said, have all been influenced by other cultures. And that's the one thing that Roddenberry really stressed was diversity. The diversity of all the cultures and everybody getting along. And, pretty much every episode of Star Trek had a happy ending. They weren't going to war. They might be battling something. Everything was resolved. And that's, I think, very important. That's Roddenberry's message.
Before we get out of here, Jason, I know there are some people that, from the business aspect of things here, we want to mention that because there are a lot of people that make this happen. It takes a village to make this happen. Decorative Arts doesn't do this in a vacuum, and I know you're very appreciative of the folks that have come and stepped up.
We are, yeah. Every exhibit, we get major funders that help us be able to put these exhibits on. In this case, the Wendell Family Fund of the Fairfield County Foundation, the Fox Foundation, Inc., and the Ohio Arts Council have been major funders for this exhibit. And I have to say, admission is free to the museum. So it's the donations of people that come and support us through donations after they've seen an exhibit, and really our membership. Becoming a member of the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio is a great way to support this work and help us do the work that we do. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, funding for organizations like ours is currently sort of, there's a lot going on in the world, and we are, in some cases, struggling. Some of our normal funders are having to pull back, and so we're just so grateful to the folks that are able to invest in us to make something like this possible, to bring a world-class exhibit like this that hasn't been seen anywhere else to Lancaster, Ohio, to the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio here. So. Thank you for that.
That's all right. It's worth mentioning all those great folks. We've got one more room to visit. Randall, Jason, take us over there and we'll wrap it all up. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up a dream show for me to be at the Decorative Arts Center with Star Trek and Worlds Beyond. And one thing that Randall mentioned, Jason, that I thought was important to notice is he said about everything has a resolution. After an hour, let's say the TV show, or after a movie, everything kind of got resolved. No matter how bad it was, there was a resolution. Right. And you said how the good that this has brought out. But I think of movies, when I think early on, like Forbidden Planet and some of that, Star Trek had a much more positive attitude that I think maybe that resonates today.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Star Trek, the stories in Star Trek aren't about peace and love. I mean, there's definitely conflict and aliens and good guys and bad guys, but there really was a sense that, they tried not to fight when they didn't need to. They tried to find resolution. When they had to, they would fight. But to Randall's point, there always was an attempt to find a positive sort of future-looking ending to things, and the other piece of that is really Randall alluded to this earlier too. The idea that it's a universe where there are a lot of different kinds of creatures. I would say people, but they're not all people. They're aliens. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But the humans, some of the humans are good, and some of them are bad. It really is about a complex universe where different cultures come together to try to move forward in a positive direction. It was certainly Gene Roddenberry's vision in the 1960s, and it continues throughout the whole run of the various iterations of Star Trek through the years.
Kirk didn't want to fight unless he was pushed to fight. His resolution was, can we deal with this? Can we talk about it? And Spock would be right there with him, but he was ready.
Yeah, it was really about sometimes his struggles to find a path forward that was right. I mean, that was part of some of the drama came from that internal struggle to try to find the right path and really move things forward. So it's a great broad message. We hope that comes through in the exhibit, but also we just love the stuff and being able to share that with the world as well.
We love the stuff, Randall. I guess that's a quote. It's great stuff. Thanks so much for bringing this here. We can't just say enough how wonderful this is, and how everybody that's going to see this is just going to be moved by what they see.
Well, on behalf of the Paramount Archives and my team back in Hollywood, we were really happy to pull all this together because they're big fans as well. But I always like coming here with something special for people to see, because a lot of people don't get to travel to Hollywood to see things, or go to museums. So come support places like the Decorative Arts Center of Ohio. That's a valuable asset here. It is the gem of Central Ohio, after all, Paul.
Well, it's Star Trek and Worlds Beyond, and it's amazing to be here. It kind of takes you away from Lancaster, Ohio, a little bit to see Hollywood. Want to thank my incredible host today, Jason Crabill, and Randall Thropp, to be with us to show us this. We hope you come up and see it, and maybe come once, and then maybe next time bring the kids and grandkids, because they're going to love all this science fiction. Beyond today, beyond human, beyond everywhere. This is beyond imagination when you come up here. This is such a wonderful place. Decorative Arts Center of Ohio through August. Come up here. Boys, thank you. Appreciate it very much. You guys are the best. Thanks for joining us for Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.